Hello, young scientists. Welcome to an exciting journey into the fundamental unit of life, the cell. Today, we are zooming into a fascinating part of this microscopic world, muscular tissue. Get ready to explore how these specialized cells enable all the movements you make, from a blink to a sprint. We'll start with the basics, then dive deeper, building your knowledge step by step. Let's unlock the secrets of your body's amazing movers. Ready to discover what makes your body move? Let's start with the basics of muscular tissue, the incredible cells responsible for every single action. Muscular tissue is a highly specialized type of animal tissue. It's primarily composed of elongated cells, which we call muscle fibers. Think of them as tiny, powerful engines within your body. These cells contain unique proteins, primarily actin and myosin, that have the incredible ability to contract, or shorten, and then relax. This cycle of contraction and relaxation is what generates force, allowing for all sorts of body movements. From simply lifting your arm to the complex process of digesting your food, muscular tissue is constantly at work, providing the necessary power. Now, let's look at the three main types of muscular tissue, each with a distinct role. First, we have skeletal muscles star. These are the muscles attached to your bones, like those in your arms and legs. They're responsible for all your voluntary movements, actions you consciously control, like walking or throwing a ball. They have a striped appearance. Next, smooth muscles are found in the walls of your internal organs, such as your stomach and intestines. They perform involuntary movements, meaning you don't consciously control them, like the churning of your food. They don't have stripes. Finally, cardiac muscle is unique to your heart. It's also involuntary, rhythmically contracting to pump blood throughout your body, and it too has a striped appearance. Each type is perfectly designed for its specific job. Time to test your understanding. Here are three quick questions. First, what is the primary function of muscular tissue in the body? Second, name the three types of muscular tissue. And finally, which type of muscle tissue is responsible for involuntary movements in your internal organs, like digestion? Think carefully about what we've just discussed. Great job with the basics. Now, let's step up and dive a little deeper into the unique characteristics and functions of each type of muscular tissue. Let's begin with skeletal muscular tissue star. These muscle fibers are quite remarkable. They are long, cylindrical, and unbranched, and interestingly, each fiber contains multiple nuclei, making them multinucleated. You'll notice distinct light and dark bands, or striations, giving them their characteristic striped look. Skeletal muscles are primarily attached to your bones via strong connective tissues called tendons. Their main job? They're responsible for all your voluntary movements, actions you consciously decide to make, like walking, lifting objects, speaking, and even maintaining your posture throughout the day. Your brain sends signals directly to these muscles, allowing you to control them with precision. Next, we have smooth muscular tissue star. Unlike skeletal muscles, these cells are spindle-shaped, meaning they taper at both ends, and each cell has only a single nucleus. The most distinguishing feature is their lack of striations, which is why they appear smooth under a microscope. You'll find smooth muscles predominantly in the walls of your internal organs. Think of your stomach, intestines, blood vessels, urinary bladder, and even the uterus. Their function is entirely involuntary. You don't consciously control them. They perform vital tasks like the peristaltic movements that push food through your digestive system, the constriction of blood vessels to regulate blood pressure, and uterine contractions during childbirth. They work tirelessly in the background, keeping your body running smoothly. Finally, let's explore cardiac muscular tissue a truly unique type found exclusively in the walls of your heart. These fibers are branched and cylindrical, typically containing one or two nuclei. Like skeletal muscles, they are striated, but they have a special feature: intercalated discs. These are specialized junctions that allow for rapid communication between heart muscle cells, ensuring that your heart beats in a synchronized rhythm. Cardiac muscle is also involuntary. You can't consciously tell your heart to speed up or slow down, though your nervous system influences its rate. Its sole, vital function is to rhythmically contract and pump blood throughout your entire body, a continuous process essential for life. This constant, tireless work is a testament to its specialized structure and function. Alright, let's solidify your understanding with 5 practice questions. First, describe 2 key structural features of skeletal muscle tissue. Second, where would you typically find smooth muscle tissue in the body? Third, what is the primary function of cardiac muscle tissue? Fourth, explain the difference between voluntary and involuntary muscle control. And fifth, why do skeletal muscles appear striped or striated? Excellent work. Now, let's elevate our understanding even further. We'll delve into a more detailed comparison of muscle types and explore the cellular components that drive muscle function. Understanding the intricate differences between muscle types is key. Skeletal muscle cells possess highly organized contractile units called sarcomeres, which are responsible for their striated appearance and enable powerful, rapid contractions. Being multinucleated, these cells are equipped for high metabolic activity needed for large movements. Their voluntary control, mediated by the somatic nervous system, allows for precise, conscious actions. In contrast, smooth muscle lacks sarcomeres, resulting in a non-striated appearance. Its slower, sustained contractions are perfectly suited for the continuous, rhythmic functions of internal organs. Its involuntary control, managed by the autonomic nervous system and hormones, ensures these vital processes occur without conscious thought. Finally, cardiac muscle shares striations with skeletal muscle due to sarcomeres, but its unique branched structure and intercalated discs facilitate rapid electrical communication, ensuring the synchronized, rhythmic beating of the heart. Like smooth muscle, it operates under involuntary control, vital for continuous blood circulation. Let's connect these functions to the cellular level. Muscle fibers, the elongated muscle cells, are packed with specialized organelles. Within these fibers are numerous myofibrils which are essentially bundles of contractile proteins. These myofibrils are made up of repeating functional units called sarcomeres. These are the true engines of contraction, especially visible in striated muscles. The 2 main contractile proteins are actin thin filaments, and myosin thick filaments, which slide past each other during contraction. And to fuel all this activity, muscle cells are loaded with mitochondria *. These powerhouses generate the vast amount of ATP, or energy, required for both muscle contraction and subsequent relaxation. The more active the muscle, like your heart, the more mitochondria it contains. Now, let's touch upon the fascinating mechanism of contraction. It all begins with a nerve impulse, which acts as the trigger. This impulse causes the release of calcium ions within the muscle cell. These calcium ions are critical. They bind to regulatory proteins on the actin filaments, effectively exposing sites where the myosin heads can attach. Once attached, the myosin heads pull the actin filaments past themselves, shortening the sarcomere. This is the essence of the sliding filament theory. Crucially, ATP provides the energy for the myosin heads to detach, recock, and reattach, allowing the continuous sliding motion. Without ATP, muscles would remain in a contracted state, a condition known as rigor. Finally, consider muscle fatigue. Skeletal muscles can fatigue relatively quickly, especially during intense exercise, due to ATP depletion and lactic acid buildup. Cardiac muscle, however, is remarkably resistant to fatigue, thanks to its high density of mitochondria and constant oxygen supply, enabling continuous, lifelong function. Smooth muscles also exhibit high fatigue resistance, maintaining prolonged contractions with minimal energy expenditure. Time for some more challenging questions. First, compare and contrast the control mechanisms of skeletal, smooth, and cardiac muscle. Second, explain the significance of striations in skeletal and cardiac muscle. Third, what are myofibrils and what key proteins are they composed of? Fourth, why are muscle cells typically rich in mitochondria? Fifth, briefly describe the role of calcium ions in initiating muscle contraction. Sixth, how does the sliding filament theory explain muscle contraction? And seventh, differentiate between the fatigue resistance of skeletal versus cardiac muscle. You've made it to the hardest level. Prepare to explore the intricate cellular architecture and the precise biochemical cascade that underpins muscle contraction, delving into competitive depth and engineering insights. Let's dissect the ultrastructure of a skeletal muscle fiber, which is a single muscle cell. The sarcolemma is its specialized plasma membrane, featuring invaginations called T-tubules or transverse tubules. These T-tubules extend deep into the muscle fiber, ensuring that nerve impulses, which initiate contraction, can rapidly reach every part of the cell simultaneously. Inside, the cytoplasm is called sarcoplasm which is rich in stored glycogen for energy, and myoglobin, an oxygen-binding protein similar to hemoglobin, ensuring a local oxygen reserve for sustained activity. A crucial organelle here is the sarcoplasmic reticulum, or SR**, a modified endoplasmic reticulum. The SR's primary role is to store and precisely release calcium ions, which are the pivotal triggers for muscle contraction. Within the sarcoplasm, numerous myofibrils run the entire length of the fiber. These are the actual contractile elements, composed of repeating units called sarcomeres which are the fundamental functional units of striated muscle, defined by their Z-lines and the precise arrangement of thick and thin filaments. The very essence of muscle contraction lies in the sliding filament theory a groundbreaking concept proposed independently by two groups of scientists, Huxley and Niederjerk, and Huxley and Henson, in the 1950s. This theory posits that muscle contraction doesn't occur by the shortening of the individual actin or myosin filaments themselves. Instead, it's a dynamic process where the thin actin filaments literally slide past the thick myosin filaments *. This sliding action pulls the Z-lines, which define the boundaries of a sarcomere, closer together, thereby shortening the entire sarcomere and, consequently, the entire muscle fiber. Think of it like telescoping rods, where the individual rods maintain their length but the overall structure becomes shorter. This elegant mechanism allows for powerful and efficient force generation. The precise arrangement and interaction of these filaments within each sarcomere are a marvel of biological engineering, enabling the incredible range of movements we perform every day. The roles of ATP and calcium ions, Ca superscript 2, in muscle contraction are intricately linked and absolutely critical. It all starts with a nerve impulse arriving at the neuromuscular junction the specialized synapse between a motor neuron and a muscle fiber. This impulse triggers the release of the neurotransmitter acetylcholine, which depolarizes the sarcolemma. This electrical signal then rapidly propagates along the sarcolemma and down into the T-tubules, reaching the sarcoplasmic reticulum. The SR in response, releases a flood of Ca superscript 2 into the sarcoplasm. These Ca superscript 2 ions are the key. They bind to troponin a regulatory protein located on the actin filament. This binding causes troponin to change shape, which in turn moves another regulatory protein, tropomyosin away from the myosin binding sites on the actin filaments, effectively uncovering them. Now, the myosin heads, which have been energized by the hydrolysis of an ATP molecule, ATP ADP plus pi, are free to attach to these exposed binding sites on actin, forming what we call a crossbridge star. The release of ADP and pi from the myosin head triggers a conformational change, leading to a power stroke that pulls the actin filament towards the center of the sarcomere. For the myosin head to detach from actin, a new ATP molecule must bind to it. If no ATP is available, the crossbridge remains attached, leading to rigor mortis after death. This continuous cycle of attachment, power stroke, detachment, and reattachment, powered by ATP, drives the sliding of the filaments and thus muscle contraction. When the nerve stimulation stops, Ca superscript 2 is actively pumped back into the SR, tropomyosin recovers the binding sites, and the muscle relaxes. Muscles are constantly working, and they need a continuous supply of energy. Let's look at the sophisticated ways our bodies generate ATP for muscle contraction. First, there's a very limited amount of stored ATP directly within muscle cells, enough for only a few seconds of activity. For short, intense bursts, like a quick sprint, the body utilizes creatine phosphate star. This high-energy compound rapidly donates a phosphate group to ADP to regenerate ATP, providing energy for about 10 to 15 seconds. For activities lasting a bit longer, say 30 to 40 seconds, anaerobic respiration or glycolysis kicks in. This process breaks down glucose without oxygen to produce ATP, but it also generates lactic acid, which contributes to muscle fatigue. However, for sustained, long-duration activities, aerobic respiration is the king. This process efficiently breaks down glucose, fatty acids, and even amino acids in the presence of oxygen, yielding a large amount of ATP, along with carbon dioxide and water. This is why endurance athletes focus on cardiovascular fitness to maximize oxygen delivery to their muscles. The neuromuscular junction is the crucial link where a motor neuron communicates with a muscle fiber, ensuring that the nervous system can precisely control when and how our muscles contract. It's a marvel of biological communication, converting electrical signals into mechanical action. Let's challenge your knowledge with the first 5 questions at the hardest level. First, describe the specific roles of the sarcolemma, T-tubules, and sarcoplasmic reticulum in a skeletal muscle fiber. Second, explain the core principle of the sliding filament theory, emphasizing what shortens and what remains constant. Third, detail the sequence of events from a nerve impulse arriving at the neuromuscular junction to the exposure of myosin binding sites on actin. Fourth, elaborate on the role of ATP in both the attachment and detachment phases of the myosin crossbridge cycle. And fifth, compare the efficiency and duration of ATP production from stored ATP, creatine phosphate, and anaerobic respiration during muscle activity. Now for the remaining 5 challenging questions. Sixth, discuss the physiological consequences if a muscle cell runs out of ATP during contraction, linking it to a known condition. Seventh, explain how calcium ions are removed from the sarcoplasm to allow muscle relaxation. Eighth, what is the significance of myoglobin in muscle tissue, especially during periods of high activity? Ninth, describe the structural organization of a sarcomere, identifying its key components and their arrangement. And 10th, considering the energy demands, why are cardiac muscle cells particularly rich in mitochondria and highly resistant to fatigue? And that concludes our deep dive into muscular tissue. From the basic types to the intricate cellular mechanisms, you've explored the incredible biology behind every movement you make. Remember, this journey into understanding the cell is just beginning. For more fascinating insights, deeper explanations, and to continue excelling in your studies, visit our website at synapse.omaps.in. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for regular updates and more engaging educational content. Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking questions.